It was early in the morning. We went outside and was so quiet. Nothing was there. He was gone like a wind. So actually he was burning my thigh. Of course I was screaming and that dog was shivering all night, like trembling so much. It's curled up as tight as it
Hello,
could.
welcome back to my channel. Look at that. I got some fancy mic this time. I hope you guys hear better now because I know my audio sounds was so bad as much as I tried to make it better. But today I finally got this one get worked. I didn't know all about this stuff and look, I figured like a days and days and made it work. So it's good. Yeah, hopefully you guys hear me better now. Okay, so today is actually my dog, Joy's birthday. So, as I celebrate her birthday with my kids and family, I keep thinking about dogs in North Korea. Yeah, so I'm like, maybe make a video about dogs in North Korea and make a comparison video about dogs in North Korea and dogs in America because I want people to know that living in this good country, even animals' lives are different. So I really want to make that video based on my personal experience when I was in North Korea and then my personal experience raising a dog in America. In North Korea, dogs are never considered family. The main reason to keep one was simple, to guard the house. Thieves are everywhere. If a dog barked at night, we had to rush outside immediately, scare them away. And sometimes even the barking alone was enough intruders away. So it's good to have a dog to keep the house so we can at least alarmed right away and check outside. So yeah, that's the reason most of North Koreans raise a dog. So I never seen dogs as a family or like pets in North Korea. But as life in North Korea grew harder, famine spread and more people starved to death. And homeless and beggars filled on the streets. People began to target dogs. If you are starving and you have nothing to eat for days and days, anything in front of you become food. So that's when neighbors' dogs started to disappearing one by one. It happened in my own family too. At the time I was living there, small things outside started disappearing first, like bicycles and some carts, firewoods and coal. Those things outside they started to disappear at nights, mostly at nights. So one day I came back home from school and my parents brought little puppy to the house. I think they talk it out and just having a dog in spite of our hardship, like there's no food, but still, dogs don't need food that much. So their plan was to raise him and guard the house. But I never liked the dogs as a child. In North Korea, we were never taught to love or respect the animals. Animals are animals. It's animals, just things. You can't compare to human. You can't blend together. So dogs always grew outside, dirty and smelly. I mean, in there, there is no showers. We took a bath like 3, 4 times a year. So think about it. Dogs, they never get bathed. It's always smelly and dirty. So I really don't like to close them because they smell so much. I really didn't want to touch them and interact them. Of course, there are no kibbles or like a dog food, specially made for dogs. So they always eat leftovers from human and just eating scraps on the streets. Anything they could find, they eat it. The idea that animals have feelings or emotions was unimaginable. So the puppy grew big like after 6 months and he started to guard the house. We were so proud of him. Whenever he hears from outside some commotions, he barked loudly. So like, good job like that, right? But then one morning, it was early in the morning. We went outside and was so quiet. Nothing was there. He was gone like a wind. He was gone like a wind. We didn't hear anything over the night and it was so quiet. No like single sound we heard. I don't know how they lured him that quietly and then, just took him away without any single noise. I mean, the dog was loud. He barked like a
crazy. He could hear sounds like distance and barking, and then the neighbors were so annoyed by him. The house was fenced outside and then was tall doors, and they were always locked, especially at night. It's hard to open it. Guess some people did it and they are so skilled. That's all I can tell. And it didn't happen once. And after we got, another puppy, and after 6 months, it disappeared again and again. And not only my house, it happened to other neighbors' dogs too. And nobody knows what happened to the dogs. You could just imagine. And one day, my parents thought it's enough, right? Because they raised the dogs very hard. And after, for a while, it disappeared. They were so mad. So I remember we had another dog. And after 6 months, that became a third dog. One day afternoon, I came back from school and found out that my own parents hanging the dog with the rope. And yeah, they killed the dog and invited all the friends over, and they had a feast. And I remember I cried and I yelled at them, I mean, even though I don't like dogs, but I felt so bad. So I yelled at them, like, "Oh, how could you do that? Like, you guys are so cruel. How do you do that to your own dog?" Well, but I'm thinking now in North Korean situation, because yeah, that's normal. I don't blame my parents. It would have gone anyways. So that's my parents did for themselves. Yeah. And then I remember my parents offered the food made by it, but I refused to eat it. I'm not lying. I still don't like eating meats and beefs. I feel like I was born in vegetarian. Even though I was hungry, I didn't like the meats. I like the fish and vegetables more. So I don't know. I didn't like the smell of them. I started to eat beefs and meats after I gave birth to my children. Like, I didn't have energy, so everybody told me I had to eat them. So that's why I started to eat it. But before that, I didn't like to eat. Yeah, I know other North Koreans, they love to eat them. Otherwise, you starve days and days. You could find any source to eat and survive. Winter was the worst time for the dogs in North Korea. Last night, it was a little chilly, and then my dog Joy, she sleeps with me, and she climbed into my bed. She carefully slipped under my blanket, curling up right beside me. In that quiet moment, as I felt her warmness against me, my mind suddenly traveled to North Korea and thinking about those dogs in winter. North Korea is cold. It's north side. It's very cold. And dogs, they live in outside, right? And wintertime, they freeze outside. So at least we could bring them to the storage, which connected the house, but it's outside, right? So at least it offered a shelter from snow and wind, but the temperature still was the same as outside. So every morning I opened the storage and checked the dog, and that dog was shivering all night, like trembling so much. It's curled up as tight as it could, and just to survive the night. But at the time, I felt nothing. I mean, I thought that was their life. That's how they live. So it was normal for them. But now I thinking back, I feel so bad for them. I feel so bad every time I see my own dog Joy, how she get treated from us and how she live her life here. It makes me constantly thinking about the dogs in North Korea, and it aches my heart. Yeah, North Korea is not for people to live freely. It's not a place for animals either. Yeah. So when I came to America, I was so shocked to learn that dogs here can live like 10, like 15, 20 years. They go to animal hospitals, get vaccinations, and get annually checked. They get feed like vitamins daily, like my dog. Yeah, I mean, they get bathed regularly. Like, they receive all the service to live longer. What about North Korea? Even people don't get those services. You can't imagine that for animals, right? So there's no such thing. So wow, I think dogs in America live better than people in North Korea. Definitely. Back in North Korea, the regime constantly mocked the American people, calling it a rotten capitalist society. And they said Americans were foolish, spoiling their dogs and like dressing them up, like
carrying them like a babies and even leaving inheritance money for them. I used to think that was ridiculous. They are weird. How could they share emotions with animals? They said they're so harsh to people, but they are so good at animals. So they are animals like that. That's what I thought in North Korea. I couldn't understand it at all. So after I arrived in America and I found out that people actually do that to their pet dogs and they care about them so much. And then I have friends who live with the pets and they were taking care of them their own babies. Like so I'm like, oh, wow. And I realized that it was true. But then my life changed after I got my own dog. The truth is, I never wanted a dog. My children who were born in America, they wanted it. And they begged me for years. Of course, I said no. I firmly said no, no, no dogs. I would never get dogs. And if I ever raise a dog, I would rather have human baby. No dogs. And also, I had trauma when I was a child, chased and bitten by a dog. It was when I was 7 years old or 8 years old. I came home from school and I was trying to visit neighbor's house, which was connected to my house. And all of a sudden, giant dogs were barking at me, ran up to me. I was so shocked and then I started running. And guess what? The dogs chasing me to the end and they bit me. And I found out later that that was a neighbor's French dog that they visited that day. I was screaming, dogs were screaming, and my parents heard that and they finally came out to chase the dogs away. And I had a bitten mark on my thigh. You know, in North Korea, there's no rabies shots and there's nowhere to get those. And then you never know the dogs. And most of dogs have rabies because they never get checked and they always eat on the streets and who knows. So, and my uncle, my dad's brother, older brother, was a vet. He lived near us. So my dad brought me to my uncle's house. My uncle saw the bitten marks and told my cousin to get the fur of the dog who bit me. And my cousin did. And then he was like, hurry up to get the dog. And then the owner was very sorry. And she actually followed me. And then she right away went there with my cousin. And then they got the fur of the dog. And he started to put that fur top of the bit mark on my thigh. And then he put a fire on it. That's the way they cure rabies right there. I still have that big mark on my thigh right here. So actually, he was burning my thigh. Of course, I was screaming. And then he ordered my cousin and my other family members to grab me. They all hold me down like that. So I had to wait until the fire naturally gone. And after that, the skin got burned. And I think he put some herbs on it, put it in there. And they said, oh, you're not gonna crazy by the rabies. And he comforted me. So it was a huge trauma for me, especially the dogs. It all happened because of dog. Yeah, that's how North Korean they cure disease or stuff like that because they don't have those fancy treatments or shots available to you. It's a harrowing experience for me. That's why I didn't like dogs at all. To me, the dogs are just attackers. But then COVID happened and schools closed, kids are staying house every day and they cannot meet people, especially they don't have family near here. So they seemed very lonely. And at the time, I had my own business store. So my husband and I were at the store all the time. I hired the babysitter to take care of them. They couldn't see me all day. My children looked so lonely. So I felt so bad. And all they wanted was a dog. So I was like, you know what? I couldn't resist it anymore. So you know what? Let's get a dog for them. And then they were over the moon. At the time, they were like 8 and 9. And before we were bringing the puppy, I told my kids, you know what? You know, mom doesn't like dogs. So you guys have to take care of them. If you don't take care of them, the dogs will go back to their owner. I'm not going to touch it. So you guys take care of it. It's your responsibility. And you let me know now. If you can't do it, then I'm not going to get it. But of course, the kids like, Mom, I promise I'll do everything for them.
you don't have to worry about anything about it. And I trusted it. Yeah, I'm so naive. And then it was near Christmas time, and I searched the dogs and then finally decided to get one for their Christmas present. Yeah, and we all went there to get the puppy. It was 3 months old puppy. It was so cute and tiny. And of course, my kids had no idea what to do with the puppy. They tried to do something, but couldn't. So thankfully, again, with the internet and YouTube, we watched it together and then learned it from there how to take care of puppies, and we copied it. And the puppy, thankfully, was very smart and he followed us very well. And he was very calm. And then the potty training, she made a lot of mistakes, but still she tried to do it on the pad and outside. She was very smart. So I think she trained us. She trained us to how to deal with her, how to take care of her. And, I still didn't like the dogs, but I still take care of her because she's too vulnerable. And I did for my kids. And after a month, the puppy, my Joey, she started to recognize me. I'm the mom. She just followed me everywhere. I do something, I work or I make some food, and then I felt something like staring at me. And then I looked at it, and of course, the Joy was looking at me like that, and then they just followed me anywhere. Like, I think it started to warm my heart so much. And like, we build emotion together. And I could feel she loves me unconditionally. That was first feeling I felt from animals. That was totally different feeling. Like my kids, like they being so rude to me. Dog never does that to me. No matter what, she just give me that loving look. Like I always call her eyes were boba eyes, the black boba eyes, like looking at me, like we have eye contact each other, and then I could start to read her mind. Right? It's crazy. I read her mind like, oh, mommy, I love you, or mommy, I'm hungry. I could hear her talking to me by just doing eye contact. Seriously, am I crazy? Or so over the years, our bond has only deepened, and Joy is no longer just a pet. She's family. Right now, I can't imagine my life without Joy. I think back to North Korea, to the dogs I once knew, freezing, starving, and forgotten. It makes me both sad and grateful. One thing I can say certainly is this. The life of a dog in America is often better than the life of an ordinary people in North Korea. The food, the medical care, the services, the love and comfort the dogs receive here in America. These are things that people in North Korea can only dream about. Living in a good country doesn't just mean people can live better. It also means animals can live with the dignity, health, and joy. If my mother could see me now celebrating my dog's birthday and treating her like my family member, she would feel heartbroken. She would probably think that I have corrupted by American culture, that I got finally crazy like Americans. And that's exactly how North Koreans taught to think. So today's Joy's birthday. She's turning 4 years old, already 4. My precious Joy. So we went shopping together, got her toys, and then one is over there, and then we got the cake. Woohoo! But we found out that she's not a shopper. She doesn't like shopping, so which is good for me. Thank you for helping mommy, not spending money on. But
So how much do you love Joy?
I love Joy like my own child. She's literally my own child. I cannot exchange her with $100,000. Maybe $1,000,000? I'll think about it. No, I'm just kidding. Would you replace her with your own child with $1,000,000? That's how I feel. So today on Joy's birthday, I celebrate, but I also celebrate love, freedom, and the chance to experience something I once thought impossible.